Hi, I'm Danny with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at, I'm going to show you how to install the LoadLifter air helper springs on our 2024 Toyota Tundra. Our neighbor today actually does already have a suspension enhancement. He's got Timbrens, which is basically just a longer jounce bumper, but he decided to upgrade to airbag suspension because that's going to help even out his load a little better with heavier loads, and it's going to improve his drivability. With weight taken off our Tundra, I can now go ahead and get the factory ride height. I'm going to measure the ground to the top of our wheel well here, and the back is about 38 1/4. And the front's going to measure at 36 5/8. I lowered down our trailer onto our ball mount, and that is about 750 pounds of tongue weight pushing down. So now I'll go ahead and get those same measurements and we'll see where we're at. So the back is going to be 36 1/2. And the front wheel well is sitting at 37 1/4. So that back end dropped and the front end rose. So what that means is it's going to decrease drivability because your front tires aren't firmly planted on the ground. It's going to raise your headlights. So people in front of you might be angry that it's shining in their vehicle. And it's going to wear your suspension a lot faster than if everything was evened out. So now we'll go ahead and install the airbags and see the difference. So now we'll go ahead and take it on the bump course and we'll see what it looks like. And as you can see from it, it is a lot less jarring on the suspension. It's not bouncing back as far with these airbags installed. So it will prolong the life of your suspension when you get these airbags. And also the drivability was a lot better over the bump course, but I could definitely tell it was more stable and secure. And now with our airbags installed, we can hook our trailer back up and get the measurement again. And what I did was I filled them until I reached that factory ride height. You're definitely gonna want these if you're towing. It made a huge difference, I could tell. I didn't hear a bunch of stuff jostling in the back of the trailer, and it was a lot smoother of a ride. Not only Dimension's gonna save you money on tires and your suspension as well. Airbags are a great upgrade to the rear suspension of your vehicle. Now, if you don't want to come back here and manually fill these up every time, then you can get a compressor, and you can get that after you get this installed. It doesn't have to be right away, but it is a good idea because it allows you to control it from the cab of your vehicle. And my personal favorite is the Airlift wireless air compressor. That one works really well, and it's easy to install and to use. This is what these bags look like installed under the vehicle. And as you can see, they're made out of a nice durable rubber that's gonna last a long time. Now you can set these at 5 to 100 PSI. Now when you're not hauling anything, you do need to have them at that 5 PSI so you don't damage them. Now, these are capable of supporting a load of 5,000 pounds, but do check your owner's manual for your payload capacity in your truck and make sure you're hauling what your truck can handle. As you can see, the old Timbren here is a lot smaller than your airbags, so this is gonna help you even out your load that much easier. As far as install goes, these aren't super easy to install. It's a really tight spot, and the bolts to torque down are in a really hard location. And after doing it, I would recommend taking the tires off. So if that's not something you're wanting to get into, then please feel free to check out our dealer locator, and we can find a professional in your area to get these installed for you. But if you're looking to do it yourself, follow along and I'll walk you through it. First off, I'm gonna take down the spare tire to give us a little more room to work under here. I got our truck in the air, and I got a pull jack just to make sure that bed is a little bit higher and I have more room to work. If you're doing this on the ground though, you can just use a regular jack and get the same result. But now I'm gonna take a 12mm ratcheting wrench and I'm gonna get these old Timbrens off. Now your jounce bumper should be installed the same way. It's gonna be 2 bolts on the frame going up, and then 1 is gonna be on the outside. Now I'll remove the other one on the driver's side, and whatever we do on one side, we are going to be doing to the other. Once we get the old jounce bumper off, there's going to be a cap directly above it. It's just this plastic cap right here, and what I use to get it off is just a flathead. I just pried it away, and I'm going to set this to the side. There's going to be a module, as the directions call it, on the passenger side, and I'm going to use a 12mm socket and get these bottom bolts removed, and I'm going to rotate this out of our way. Now with both bolts removed, we can take this and scoot it out of our way for now. There's going to be an emergency brake cable. It's going to be in our way. It's just mounted to the frame with a bolt. I'm going to use a 12mm socket. Get this bolt removed and get this pushed out of our way. Now you're going to want to keep this bolt because we're going to reinstall this later. I got our upper bracket here, and there's going to be a side with a swoop there, and this is where our mounting locations are going to be. We want this to be towards the front of the truck. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up. And where we took our old jounce bumper off is where I'm going to put our new hardware in. It's going to be these black screws, or bolts rather, that come in the kit. Get these tightened down. I'm going to use a 5mm hex head bit, or it's really just an Allen key bit, and I'm going to tighten these down, but I'm going to leave them loose so I can still slide this back and forth. Just going to tighten them down a little bit. Now it's time to put our upper support bracket in place, and there's going to be an R and an L stamped into these, and it's going to be right about there. And so this is going to be for the right side, and this bent piece, we are going to put this bolt temporarily. So that's going to go into the hole where our jounce bumper was on the side of our frame. Take the upper support bracket and set it on top of our upper bracket, like that. And then make sure that module is out of your way, and I push this all the way back. And then that bolt I showed you earlier is going to go into that frame. I'm just going to get this hand tight for now. You want to line these holes up with your support bracket. So what I'm going to do is take the carriage bolt that comes in your kit. I'm just going to drop it through both plates. And now that I got the alignment, I'm going to tighten these down. I'll go ahead and go back and torque these down to the specs in the instructions. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench at home, you can rent one from your local auto parts store, or we do sell them here at eTrailer. Once these are torqued down, I'll go ahead and take our carriage bolts out, just because we're using those as a guide. I got our airbag here, and I'm going to install our air fitting. I'm going to thread this in, hand tight till it stops. Then I'll take a 12mm wrench, and your instructions do say 1/2 inch, so that will work as well. I'm going to do a full 1.5 rotations. That's 1, and that's 1/2. Now we'll take the roll plate and get this aligned so the threaded holes are visible. I'll take our upper spring plate, and I'll put that on top of our bag, and this is going to be the orientation for the passenger side. As you can see, there's a chunk taken out, and this is facing the right when you're looking at it with the air fill towards you. Now on the driver's side, it will be the opposite. So everything will just be mirrored. So before I put this on, I will take our 1-inch carriage bolts, put that through both of the square holes near the end of our plate and put this on top. I'll take the 3/8 black bolt and get this threaded on into our airbag. I'll use a 7/32 hex head bit and get these tightened down. I'll torque these two down now as well. You may have to hold it. It's wanting to spin. I'll flip the airbag completely over and put our roll plate on the bottom as well. We'll take our large carriage bolts, get those inserted in our bottom bracket. Now I'll flip this around and put this on top of our roll plate. Make sure our threaded inserts are visible. And this bracket part is going to be facing the part where that has the chunk missing of your top bracket. Now I'll take our black screws and get these tightened on. And just like the other side, we're going to torque these as well. We can now put our bag in place, and this can be kind of difficult to find the correct way to maneuver this in here because of the long bolts. It was proving to be very difficult, so what I did was I compressed the bag and I put some zip ties on either side just to make this a little smaller so I can squeeze this in. So I'm getting under the brake line, and now I'm able to get it in. Now I can cut these. I'm going to line up the carriage bolt with the hole it needs to go in on the top. I'm going to get this pushed through on either side. And once it's up there, I'm going to take a pair of vice grips and clamp these on. Above the wheel, this is where our bolts are coming through the bracket, and I'm going to take the flange nuts that come in the kit and get these hand tight on both of these. Now, you want these to be seated, the carriage bolts, and this may be a lot easier to remove your tire if you're doing this at home. Now first I will torque down the bolt going into our frame. And then I'll use a 14mm wrench and get these tightened down. There's two more holes through our brackets, and we're gonna go ahead and put our remaining carriage bolt up through, and we'll get the nut tightened and torqued down. I'll take the clamp bar next, and there's gonna be a half circle side and a square side, and that round side, of course, is gonna go on the round side of our rear axle. Get this in place. We'll get a flat washer and nylock nut and get this on both sides. I want to make sure this is nice and straight, and I'll go ahead and tighten each side. I want to go back and forth so it doesn't tighten one side too much. And now I'll torque them down as well. Now this is where our brake cable used to be, and there's actually a bracket on your bottom plate of our airbag assembly. So I'm going to move this up here and use our factory bolt. Put this through the top. And then the kit does give you a flat washer and nylock nut to secure this. And now I'll get a 12mm wrench for the top of the bolt and a 13mm for the bottom, and I'll get this tightened down. You also want to make sure your brake line isn't too close to your bolt, or if it's going to rub against it, you're going to want to bend that out. Now go ahead and repeat this entire process on your driver's side. And as far as our module goes, we can put that on our hole in our bracket. So I'll line that up with our hole, and I'll put our factory bolt back in, and then I'll put a washer and lock nut on the back of this that come in your kit. With both of our bags in place, we can now run our Airline, and first I'm going to get it mounted on the vehicle somewhere, and I'll run them back to our bags, and then we'll show you the path we take. So we've decided to put our intake valve right here in some dead space in the vehicle. There's a couple different places you can put it, a bracket on the hitch or on your license plate, but here is a good spot as any. So now I'll take our valve and I'll get a nut threaded on. I'll get a toothed washer and put that on, and I'll get this put through the back side. Now I'll put a rubber washer on, flat washer, and another nut. This kit is designed to have 2 inflation valves, so we would drill another hole and put this next to it to fill each bag individually, but our neighbor opted to get a T-fitting, so we can use 1 inflation valve, and I'll show you where that T-fitting is in our system. Our Airline is coming out, and I'm zip tying it to the existing harness here. I did leave a loop just in case it needs to be moved, and I ran up on the frame, and this is where our T-fitting is. So this basically just allows us to run both lines together from each bag and 1 line out. Now I would recommend everyone to get a T-fitting just because inflating both of them at the same time is ideal. If you do have maybe a embed camper with varying weights on either side, that would be the only case you'd want to fill the bags to different PSIs. But from here, our line goes this way to our driver's side bag along existing wire harness all the way to the outside where I can plug it into our bag. And this line will go to our other bag along the side here to our connection point. Now I'm going to put air in the system and test all of our fittings, make sure we don't have any leaks. I got a soapy water solution, and I'm going to spray this on all the fittings we made. And what we're looking for is lots of bubbles continually forming. Little bubbles are okay, and it looks like we are good to go. With our bags installed, we can load up the truck or hook up the trailer, and you're ready to hit the road. If you have any further questions about what suspension enhancement is going to be right for you and your truck, whether it be airbags, Timbrens, or sumo springs, then please feel free to reach out to us at eTrailer. But other than that, that just about does it for the look at the Airlift LoadLifter Air Helper Springs on our 2024 Toyota Tundra.